All right. I think I got the issue fixed. Happy Sabbath. I'm Lee. I'm going to continue reading 2nd Baruch, chapter 44. Had a little issue with the microphone. I think it's fixed now. So here's 2nd Baruch, or Apocalypse of Baruch, chapter 44. And I, Baruch, went from thence and came to my people, and I called my firstborn son, and the Gedaliahs, my friends, and 7 of the elders of the people, and I said unto them, Behold, I go unto my fathers, according to the way of all the earth, but withdraw ye not from the way of the law, but guard and admonish the people which remain, lest they withdraw from the commandments of the Mighty One. For you see that he whom we serve is just, and our Creator is no respecter of persons. And that is echoed again in the scripture. Romans 2:11, for there is no respect of persons with Yahuwah. And we look at, for you see what hath befallen Zion, and what hath happened to Jerusalem. For the judgment of the Mighty One shall thereby be made known, and his ways which thou past finding out are right. For if you endure and persevere in his fear, and do not forget his law, that's also scripture. Deuteronomy 5:29, Oh, that there were such a heart in them, that they would fear me and keep all my commandments always, that it might be well with them and with their children forever. The time shall change over you for good, and you shall see the consolation of Zion, because whatever is now is nothing, but that which shall be is very great. Consolation of Zion is New Jerusalem. And if you wonder about the law being done away with, Revelation 20:12, and I saw the dead, small and great, stand before Yahuwah, and the books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life, and the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books, according to their works, faith, and obedience. Revelation 14:12, Here is the patience of the saints, here are they that keep the commandments of Yahuwah and the faith of Yahusha. For everything that is corruptible shall pass away, and everything that dieth shall depart, and all the present time shall be forgotten, nor shall there be any remembrance of the present time which is defiled with evils. For that which runneth now runneth into vanity, and that which prospereth shall quickly fall and be humiliated. For that which is to be shall be the object of desire, and on that which shall come afterwards do we place our hope. For it is a time that shall not pass away, and the hour cometh which shall abide forever, and the new world cometh which does not turn to corruption those who depart to its blessedness, and hath no mercy on those who depart to torment, and shall not lead to perdition those who live in it. For these are they who shall inherit that time which hath been spoken of, and theirs is the inheritance of the promised time. These are they who have acquired for themselves treasures of wisdom, and with them are found stores of understanding. And from mercy have they not withdrawn, and the truth of the law have they preserved. Truth of the law. Who is this talking about? It's very clear. Everybody knows Revelation is the end. Revelation 22:14, Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and enter in through the gates into the city, New Jerusalem. City. Revelation again. Revelation 21:2, And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Yahuwah out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And the truth of the law David, Psalm 119, 151, Thou art near, O Yahuwah, and all thy commandments are truth. Psalm 119, 142, Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Truth of the law. Law is truth. Have they preserved, for to them shall be given the world to come, but the dwelling of the rest, who are many, shall be in the fire. Do you therefore, so far as you are able, instruct the people, for that labor is yours, for if you teach them, is 45, you will quicken them. And chapter 46, And my son and the elders of the people answered and said unto me, Hath the mighty one humiliated us to such a degree as to take thee from us quickly? And truly we shall be in darkness, and there will be no light to the people who are left. For where again shall we seek the law? Or who will distinguish for us between death and life? No light left to them. Isaiah 8:20, To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, is because there is no light in them. Proverbs 6:23, For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light. And reproofs of instructions are the way of life. Deuteronomy 30:19, I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live. And that is if you keep his commandments. Deuteronomy 30:16, And that I commanded thee this day to love Yahuwah thy Elohim, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments, and his statutes, and his judgments, that thou mayest live and multiply, and Yahuwah thy Elohim shall bless thee in the land whither thou goest to possess it. Also 1 John, where you at? 3. 1 John 2:3, Hereby we do know that we know him, if we keep his commandments. He that saith, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments, is a liar, and the truth, the law, is not in him. Where's it? 4? No, 5:3. 1 John 5:3, For this is the love of Yah, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. Seek the law. Verse 4, And I said unto them, The throne of the mighty one I cannot resist. Nevertheless, there shall not be wanting to Israel a wise man, nor a son of the law to the race of Jacob. But only prepare you in your hearts, that you may obey the law, and be subject to those who in fear are wise and understanding, and prepare your soul that you may not depart from them. For if you do these things, good tidings shall come unto you. And a lot of people say, well, Paul said it's done away with. No, he didn't. First Timothy 1:8, But we know that the law is good, if a man use it lawfully. Verse 9, Knowing this, that the law is not made for a righteous man, but for the lawless and disobedient, for the ungodly and for the sinners. So you know what sin is, so you can repent and stop breaking the law. For the unholy and profane, for murderers of fathers and murderers of mothers, for manslayers, for whoremongers, for them that defile themselves with mankind, for men stealers, for liars, for perjured persons, and if there be any other thing that is contrary to sound doctrine. And we're in the age where They don't sound doctrine. Nope. 2 Timothy 2:5, and if a man also strive for masteries, yet is he not crowned, except he strive lawfully. Revelation 3:11, behold, I come quickly, hold fast that which thou hast, that no man take thy crown, if you strive lawfully. Sound doctrine. People say the law is done away with. 2 Timothy 4:3, for the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine. Not. But after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears. They shall turn away their ears from the truth. We saw what the truth is, the law, and shall be turned unto fables. Verse 6, which I before told you of, nor will you fall into the torment of which I testified to you before. But with regard to the word that I was to be taken, I did not make it known to them or to my son. Happy Sabbath, Mick. 47. Yeah, 47. I wish they would just do numbers instead of Roman numerals. And when I had gone forth and dismissed them, I went thence and said unto them, behold, I go to Hebron, for thither the Mighty One has sent me. And I came to that place where the word had been spoken to me, and I sat there and fasted 7 days. And you'll notice in 2nd Ezra, he fasts 7 days. 48, and it came to pass after the 7th day that I prayed before the Mighty One and said, O my Master, thou summonest the advent of the times, and they stand before thee. Thou causest the power of the ages to pass away, and they do not resist thee. Thou arrangest the method of the seasons, and they obey thee. Thou alone knowest the duration of the generations, and thou revealest not thy mysteries to many. Thou revealest not thy mysteries to many. It's true. First Corinthians 4:1, let a man so account of us as of the ministers of Messiah and stewards of the mysteries of Yah. 1 Corinthians 14:2, for he that speaketh in an unknown tongue speaketh not unto men, but unto Yah, for no man understandeth him. Howbeit in the Spirit he speaketh the mysteries. Matthew 13:11, he answered and said unto them, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but unto them it is not given. And that's when he was telling them about the parables. He said the disciples came and said unto him, why speakest thou unto them in parables? Because unto you it's given to know the mysteries of the kingdom. First Corinthians 13:2, and though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains and have not love, I am nothing. Thou makest known the multitude of the fire, and thou weighest the lightness of the wind. Thou explorest the limit of the heights, and thou scrutinizest the depths of the darkness. Thou carest for the number which pass away, that they may be preserved, and thou preparest an abode for those that are to be. Thou rememberest the beginning which thou hast made, an abode for those that are to be. Yep. Mm-hmm. John 14:2, in my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you, I go to prepare a place for you. And thou preparest an abode for those that are to be. Thou rememberest the beginning which thou hast made, and the destruction that is to be, thou forgettest not. With nods of fear and indignation thou givest commandment to the flames, and they change into spirits. And with a word thou quickenest that which was not. Spirits. The internet's a very good tool if it's used right. Psalms 104:4, who maketh his angels spirits, his ministers of flaming fire. Well, that's what we were talking about earlier about works. 2 Corinthians 11:15, therefore it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. So there it is. Thou instructest created things in the understanding of thee, and thou makest wise the spheres so as to minister in their orders. Armies innumerable stand before thee, and minister in their orders quietly at thy nod. Yeah, there's another scripture that says that he's surrounded. Armies innumerable stand before thee. Is that? Yeah, that's one thing about the Septuagint. They've taken a lot of that stuff out. So I think it's Psalm 78. This is the Brenton Septuagint. 73. Psalms. Let's try 73. 72. It's Divine Counsel. See if I can find it. Divine Counsel. It's Psalm 78. Let's do Septuagint. Deuteronomy 32. Psalm 73. Yep. I was right on it. But they're a little bit off in the Septuagint, so you got to look. Is it 4? That's all. No. What? Let's see. Had it just the other day. Psalm 82. Sorry about that. So it'd be 81 in the Septuagint, but 82 in the KJV. And most translations are translated out of the same manuscripts. All of our modern Bibles use the same manuscripts. So if you got a KJV and you got another modern Bible, you've got, it may be translated a little bit differently, but it's the same manuscript. So Psalms 82, or Psalm 81, Yahuwah stands in the assembly of gods, and in the midst of them will judge gods. How long will you judge unrighteously and accept the persons of sinners? Judge the orphan and the poor, do justice to the low and the needy, rescue the needy, and deliver the poor out of the hand of the sinner. They know not nor understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth shall be shaken. I have said, you are gods, and all of you children of the Most High, but you die as men and fall as one of the princes. Arise, O Yahuwah, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all the nations. So he stands in the assembly of the gods. Yahuwah standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth among the gods. The assembly of the gods. So we got armies innumerable stand before thee and minister in their orders quietly at thy nod. Hear thy servant and give ear to my petition. For in a little time are we born, in a little time do we return. But with thee hours are as a time, and days as generations. Yeah. 2 Peter 3:8. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day with Yahuwah is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. Days as generations. Be not therefore wroth with man, for he is nothing, and take not account of our works, for what are we? For lo, by thy gift do we come into the world, and we depart not of our own will. For we said not to our parents, beget us, nor did we send to Sheol and say, receive us. What therefore is our strength that we should bear thy wrath? Or what are we that we should endure thy judgment? Protect us in thy compassions, and in thy mercy help us. Behold the little ones that are subject unto thee. The little ones. That's cool. Matthew 18:14. Even so it is not the will of your Father which is in heaven that one of these little ones should perish. Matthew 19:14. But Yahushua said, suffer little children and forbid them not to come unto me, for of such is the kingdom of heaven. Behold the little ones that are subject unto thee, and save all that draw nigh unto thee, and destroy not the hope of our people, and cut not short the times of our aid. For this is the nation which thou hast chosen, and these are the people to whom thou findest no equal. But I will speak now before thee, and I will say, as my heart thinketh, in thee do we trust, for lo, thy law is with us. And we know that we shall not fall so long as we keep thy statutes. To all times we are blessed in this, at least, that we have not mingled with the Gentiles, for we are all one celebrated people. This is before the Messiah came and brought the Gentiles to him. For we are all one celebrated people, who have received one law from one, and the law which is amongst us will aid us, and the surpassing wisdom which is in us will help us. And when I had prayed and said these things, I was greatly weakened, and he answered and said unto me, Thou hast prayed simply, O Baruch, and all thy words have been heard. But my judgment exacteth its own, and my law exacteth its rights. For from thy words I will answer thee, and from thy prayer I will speak to thee. For this is as followeth, he that is corrupted is not at all. He hath both wrought iniquity, that's lawlessness, so far as he could do anything, and hath not remembered my goodness, nor accepted my longsuffering. This is Blue Letter Bible. To go to Matthew 7:23, he says, And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. You depart from me, you that work iniquity. That's Strong's G458. That's the Greek word for iniquity. Anomia is iniquity, unrighteousness, transgress the law, transgression of the law, the condition of without law, because ignorant of it or because of violating it, contempt in violation of the law, iniquity, also wickedness. hath not remembered my goodness, nor accepted my long suffering. Therefore thou shalt surely be taken up, as I before told thee. For that time shall arise which bringeth affliction, for it shall come and pass by with quick vehemence, and it shall be turbulent, coming in the heat of indignation. And it shall come to pass in those days that all the inhabitants of the earth will be moved one against another, because they know not that my judgment hath drawn nigh. Satan's done a really good job of deceiving people through the movies, television, all kind of stuff. And they just don't have a clue. So, indignation. Yep. Indignation. So you think it would be obvious to people, but it's not going to be. Yep. That is Hebrews 10:27, a certain fearful looking for of judgment and fiery indignation, which shall devour the adversaries. That is, if we sin willfully after we have received the knowledge of the truth, his law, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins. That's a scary verse. There are two brethren. 10. Yep, Isaiah 26 for sure. Come, my people, Isaiah 26:20. Enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, until the indignation be overpast. For behold, Yahuwah cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain. I recommend reading that whole chapter right there. Let's see, his judgment has drawn nigh, and one against another. That's also in 2nd Esdras. 5. Another. Where's it at? Yeah, Luke 12:53. The father shall be divided against the son against the father, the mother against the daughter against the mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Let's see, where's that at? It is also Yeah, I can't remember where it's at. For there shall not be found many wise at that time, and the intelligent shall be but a few. Moreover, even those who know shall most all be silent. That is, I think it's Amos. I think it's in Amos. Can't remember where though. There shall be many rumors and tidings not a few, and the doings of phantasmata shall be manifest. That's spirits. And promises not a few be recounted. Some of them shall prove idle, and some of them shall be confirmed. And honor shall be turned into shame, and strength humiliated into contempt, and probity destroyed, and beauty shall become ugliness. And many shall say to many at that time, where hath the multitude of intelligence hidden itself? And whither hath the multitude of wisdom removed itself? And whilst they are meditating these things, then envy shall arise in those who had not thought aught of themselves, and passion shall seize him who is peaceful, and many shall be roused in anger to injure many. and they shall raise up armies in order to shed blood, and in the end they shall perish together with them. And it shall come to pass at the selfsame time that a change of time shall manifestly appear to every man, because in all those times they polluted themselves, and practiced oppression, and walked every man in his own works. That's when you don't walk in the Father's works, his commandments. See, his works become our works, but they're his works. Our own works is not his works. And remember not the law of the mighty one. Therefore a fire shall consume their thoughts, and in flames shall the meditations of their reins be tried. For the judge shall come and will not tarry, because each of the inhabitants of the earth knew when he was committing iniquity, and they have not known my law by reason of their pride. But many shall then assuredly weep, yea, over the living more than over the dead. And I answered and said, O Adam, what hast thou done to all those who are born from thee? And what will be said to the first Eve who hearkened to the serpent? For all this multitude is going to corruption, nor is there any numbering of those whom the fire devoureth. But again I will speak in thy presence. Thou, O Yahuwah, my master, knowest what is in thy creature. For thou didst of old command the dust to produce Adam, and thou knowest the number of those who are born from him, and how far they have sinned before thee, who have existed and not confessed thee as their creator. And as regards all these, their end will convict them, and thy law which they have transgressed shall requite them on thy day. 48. But now let us dismiss the wicked and inquire about the righteous, and I'll recount their blessedness, and not be silent in celebrating their glory, which is reserved for them. For as surely as in a little time in this world which passeth away, in which ye live, you have endured much labor, so in that world to come, to which there is no end, you shall receive great light. Let's see. Yep. It's going to be Daniel 12:3, and they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. Nevertheless, is 49, I will again ask from thee, O mighty one, yea, I will ask mercy from him who made all things. In what shape will those live who live in thy day? Or how will the splendor of those who are after that time continue? Will they then resume this form of the present, and put on these entrammeling members, which are now involved in evils, and in which evils are consummated? Or wilt thou perchance change these things which have been in the world, as also the world? It's chapter 50. And he answered and said unto me, Hear, Baruch, this word, and write in the remembrance of thy heart all that thou shalt learn. For the earth shall then assuredly restore the dead, which it now receiveth, in order to preserve them. It shall make no change in their form, but as it hath received, so shall it restore them. And as I delivered them unto it, so also shall it raise them. That's what I like about 2nd Baruch. You can go through chapter by chapter, and it lines up with the scriptures all the way through. I haven't found a contradiction in it. So, raised to life. It is, Paul wrote about it, the dead raised. I just type resurrection. Keyword. Yep. So you got John 5:29, and shall come forth they that have done good unto the resurrection of life, they that have done evil unto the resurrection of damnation. What's good and evil? Well, anybody can make up what they think is good and evil, but what does the scriptures and our Father in heaven think is good and evil? That's why he gave us his law. Good, evil. He seeks the will of the Father who sent him. Yep, missed a verse. Sorry. Marvel not at this, for the hour is coming in the which all that are in the grave shall hear his voice. And so 1 Corinthians 15. If there be no resurrection of the dead, then Messiah is not risen, which we know he is risen, so there is a resurrection of the dead. And so, where the dead rise not. 1 Corinthians 15:42, so also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in corruption, it is raised in incorruption. It is sown in dishonor, it is raised in glory. It is sown in weakness, it is raised in power. It is sown a natural body, is raised a spiritual body. There is a natural body and there is a spiritual body. And so it is written, the first Adam was made a living soul, the last Adam was made a quickening spirit. Yahuwah from heaven, the second man. Last trump, that's what I was looking for. Thessalonians. Where's it at? It is... Corinthians? Oh, it is Corinthians. I missed it. 1 Corinthians 15:52, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. But as it hath received, so shall it restore them. For then it will be necessary to show the living that the dead have come to life again, and that those who had departed have returned again. And it shall come to pass, when they have severally recognized those whom they now know, then judgment shall grow strong, and those things which before were spoken of shall come. And another interesting note is they're prepping the world for zombies, right? Adam at Parable of the Vineyard's done a lot of good videos on this. CDC wants you to prepare for a zombie apocalypse. And I'll just pull up Adam. You can go check him out. He's got a lot of good stuff. Don't agree with everything, but he's got a lot of good stuff. He's a good brother. It is Zombies in the Bible and What Hollywood Doesn't Want You to Know. Right here. So, and chapter 51, it shall come to pass when that appointed day hath gone by, that then shall the aspect of those who are condemned be afterwards changed, and the glory of those who are justified. Justified, key word. Key word. Romans 2:13, for not the hearers of the law are just before Yahuwah, but the doers of the law shall be justified. Romans 3:20, therefore by the deeds of the law there shall be no flesh justified in his sight, for by the law is the knowledge of sin. So it seems like he contradicts himself, but he doesn't contradict himself. You have to have Messiah to cover your sin, and you live righteously by his instructions. That's how you know what sin is. Turn from your sin. Even the Messiah said, go and sin no more. So Paul said, by the law is the knowledge of sin. John 8:34, Yahushua answered them, verily, verily, I say unto you, whosoever committeth sin is the servant of sin, lawlessness. And where's it at? Here we go. John 8:11. She said, "No man, Master." That's when he asked if the people had condemned her. And Yahushua said unto her, "Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more." Quit breaking the law. For the aspect of those who now act wickedly shall become worse than it is, as they shall suffer torment. Also, as for the glory of those who have now been justified in my law, that's his, when he sets the judgment, that's what he looks at. You got to have a law, or you don't have a judgment. You go to court, they got a law. You go to his court, he's got a law. Who have had understanding in their life, and who have planted in their heart the root of wisdom, then their splendor shall be glorified in changes, and the form of their face shall be turned into the light of their beauty, that they may be able to acquire and receive the world which doth not die, which is then promised to them. For over this above all those who come then lament that they rejected my law, and stopped their ears that they might not hear wisdom or receive understanding. Got Proverbs 28:9. He that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be an abomination. So when the Messiah came, he took the book of Proverbs out, or does that still stand? Still stands. It's still written. It still stands. When therefore they see those over whom they are now exalted, but who shall then be exalted and glorified more than they shall respectively be transformed, the latter into the splendor of angels, and the former shall yet more waste away in wonder at the visions and in the beholding of the forms. Transformed into the splendor of angels. So you read Come on, where's it at? Neither marry, give in marriage. Matthew 22:30. From the resurrection they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as the angels of Yahuwah in heaven. He said, "You err not knowing the scriptures." So if you look at, what's he quoting? Book of Enoch. Chapter 15. And he answered and said to me, and I heard his voice, "Fear not, Enoch, thou righteous man and scribe of righteousness. Approach hither and hear my voice, and go say to the watchers of heaven who have sent thee to intercede for them, you should intercede for men, and not men for you. Wherefore have you left the high, holy, and eternal heaven, and lain with women, and defiled yourselves with the daughters of men, and taken yourselves wives, and done like the children of earth, and begotten giants as your sons? And though you were holy, spiritual, living the eternal life, you have defiled yourselves with the blood of women, and have begotten children with the blood of flesh. And as the children of men have lusted after flesh and blood, as those also do who die and perish, therefore have I given them wives also, that they might impregnate them, and beget children by them, that thus nothing might be wanting to them on earth. But you were formerly spiritual, living the eternal life, and immortal for all generations of the world. And therefore I have not appointed wives for you. For as the spiritual ones of the heaven, in heaven is their dwelling." See, no wives for angels in the resurrection, no wives for his people. In the resurrection they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as the angels of Yahuwah in heaven. For they will first behold, and afterwards depart to be tormented. But those who have been saved by their works, works, and to whom the law hath been now a hope, and understanding and expectation, And people say, we hope in Messiah. Yes, we hope in Messiah. But Messiah also said, John 14:6, Yahushua saith unto him, I am the way. In the Old Testament, the way is the law. He said, I am the truth. In the Old Testament, the truth is the law. And the life. In the Old Testament, the life is the law. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. He is the Word, the law, everything. And to whom the law hath been now a hope, and understanding, and expectation, and wisdom, a confidence, to them wonders will appear in their time, for they shall behold the world which is now invisible to them, and they shall behold the time which is now hidden from them, and time shall no longer age them, for in the heights of that world shall they dwell. Isaiah 65:20, there shall be no more thence an infant of days, nor an old man that hath not filled his days. For the child shall die 100 years old, but the sinner being 100 years old shall be accursed. Nor an old man that hath not filled his days. From the heights of that world shall they dwell, and they shall be made like unto the angels, and be made equal to the stars. And they shall be changed into every form they desire, from beauty into loveliness, and from light into the splendor of glory. For there shall be spread before them the extents of paradise, right to the tree of life. And there shall be shown to them the beauty of the majesty of the living creatures, which are beneath the throne, and all the armies of the angels, who are held fast by my word, lest they should appear and are held fast by a command. We know who his word is, the Messiah. That they may stand in their places till their advent cometh. Moreover, there shall then be excellency in the righteous, surpassing that in the angels. For excellency in the righteous. That's interesting. Excellency in the righteous, surpassing that in the angels. Maybe that's why. First Corinthians 6:3, know you not that we shall judge angels? How much more things that pertain to this life? There shall then be excellency in the righteous, surpassing that in the angels. For the first shall receive the last, those whom they were expecting, and the last, those of whom they used to hear that they had passed away. First. Mark 10:31, but many that are first shall be last, and the last first. For they have been delivered from this world of tribulation, and laid down the burthen of anguish. For that then have men lost their life, and for what have those who are on earth exchanged their soul? Matthew 10:28, fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. For then they chose not for themselves this time, which beyond the reach of anguish could not pass away, but they chose for themselves that time, whose issues are full of lamentations and evils. And they denied the world which ageth not those who come to it, and they have rejected the time of glory. So they chose this world over the world to come, so that they shall not come to the honor of which I told thee before. 52, and I answered and said, how can we forget those for whom woe is then reserved? And that's an interesting study all by itself. All through Enoch, woe, woe, woe. And same thing through the scriptures. If you just look up woe, And woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth. As woe, 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 all through Zephaniah, Revelation, Habakkuk, Jeremiah, Isaiah. It's all over the place. I need to study that more. But you got, how can we forget those for whom woe is then reserved? And why therefore again do we mourn for those who die? Why do we keep for those who depart to Sheol? That's in the earth. Let lamentations be reserved for the beginning of that coming torment, and let tears be laid up for the advent of the destruction of that time. Matthew 5:4, blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Mourn now or mourn later. Even in the face of these things I will speak, and as for the righteous, what will they do now? Rejoice ye in the suffering which you now suffer, for why do you look for the decline of your enemies? Make ready your soul for that which is reserved for you, and prepare your souls for the reward which is laid up for you. These inherit the kingdom here. Hebrews chapter 11. And let's see. He gives a good example. Where's it at? I'm not going to read the whole chapter, but where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? Let's see, just pull it up. I guess I can start here. Chapters 11, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of Yahuwah, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. By faith Abel offered unto Yahuwah a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous. He offered the prescribed sacrifice of the law. Cain did not. The law doesn't tell you to give vegetables. Yahuwah testifying of his gifts, and by it he being dead yet speaketh. By faith Enoch was translated that he should not see death, taken to the Garden of Eden, check Jubilees, and was not found, because Yahuwah had translated him. For before his translation he had this testimony, that he pleased Yahuwah. How did he please him? Kept his commandments. But without faith it is impossible to please him. Hebrews chapter 4, if you don't have faith, you're not keeping Sabbath. For he that cometh to Yahuwah must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. By faith Noah, being warned of God, of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by which he condemned the world, and became heir of the righteousness which is by faith. By faith Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed, and he went out, not knowing whither he went. By faith he sojourned in the land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked for a city which hath foundations, whose builder and maker is Yahuwah. We've seen that earlier in Revelation. New Jerusalem. Through faith also Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed, and was delivered of a child when she was past age, because she judged him faithful who had promised. Therefore sprang there even of one, and him as good as dead, so many as the stars of the sky in multitude, and as the sand which is by the seashore innumerable. These all died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, and were persuaded of them, and embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth. For they that say such things declare plainly that they seek a country. And truly, if they had been mindful of that country from whence they came out, they might have had opportunity to have returned. But now they desire a better country, that is a heavenly. Wherefore Yahuwah is not ashamed to be called their Elohim, for he hath prepared for them a city. By faith Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Isaac, and he that had received the promises offered up his only begotten son, of whom it was said, that in Isaac shall thy seed be called, accounting that Yahuwah was able to raise him up even from the dead, from whence also he received him in a figure. By faith Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau concerning things to come. By faith Jacob, when he was a dying, blessed both the sons of Joseph, and worshipped leaning upon the top of his staff. By faith Joseph, when he died, made mention of the departing of the children of Israel, and gave commandment concerning his bones. By faith Moses, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents, because they saw he was a proper child, and they were not afraid of the king's commandment. That's interesting. 3 months. By faith Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of Yah than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season, esteeming the reproach of Messiah greater riches than the treasures in Egypt. Oh, Messiah, Egypt. For he had respect unto the recompense of the reward. By faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the true king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible. Through faith he kept Passover and sprinkling of blood, lest he that destroyed the firstborn should touch them. By faith they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land, which the Egyptians essaying to do were drowned. By faith the walls of Jericho fell down, after they were compassed about 7 days. By faith the harlot Rahab perished not with them that believed not, when she had received the spies with peace. And what shall I more say? For the time would fail me to tell of Gideon, and of Baruch, and of Samson, and of Jephthah, of David also, and Samuel, and of the prophets, who through faith subdued kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions, quenched the violence of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, out of weakness were made strong, waxed valiant in fight, turned to flight the armies of the aliens, or strangers. Women received their dead, raised to life again, and others were tortured, not accepting deliverance, that they might obtain a better resurrection. Better resurrection. And others had trial of cruel mockings and scourging, yea, moreover of bonds and imprisonment. They were stoned, they were sawn asunder. Martyrdom of Isaiah, a removed book, talks about Isaiah being sawn in half. The prophet Isaiah. Were tempted, were slain with the sword. They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute, afflicted, tormented, of whom the world was not worthy. They wandered in deserts, and in mountains, and in dens, and in caves of the earth, of whom the world was not worthy. All these, having obtained a good report through faith, received not the promise. What's he talking about? They knew about it. I'll stop a verse short. I said I wasn't going to read the whole thing. Luke 172, to perform the mercy promised to our fathers and to remember his holy covenant. That's what the Messiah came to do. Oh, watch out. Mercy promised to the fathers. Prepare your souls for the reward which is laid up for you. 53, and when I had said these things, I fell asleep there, and I saw a vision, and lo, a cloud was ascending from a very great sea, and I kept gazing upon it, and lo, it was full of waters, white and black, and there were many colors in those selfsame waters, as it were the likeness of great lightning was seen at its summit. And I saw that cloud passing swiftly in quick courses, and it covered all the earth. And it came to pass after these things that the cloud began to pour upon the earth the waters that were in it. And I saw that there was not one and the same likeness in the waters which descended from it. For in the first beginning they were black and many for a time, and afterwards I saw the waters became bright, but they were not many. And after these things again I saw black waters, and after these things again bright, and again bright, black, and again bright. Now this was done 12 times, but the black were always more numerous than the bright. And it came to pass at the end of the cloud that, lo, it rained black waters, and they were darker than had been all those waters that were before, and fire was mingled with them. And where those waters descended, they wrought devastation and destruction. And I saw after these things that lightning which I had seen on the summit of the cloud, that it seized hold of it and hurled it to the earth. Now that lightning shone exceedingly, so as to illuminate the whole earth, and it healed those regions where the last waters had descended and wrought devastation. And it took hold of the whole earth and had dominion over it. And I saw after these things, and lo, 12 rivers were ascending from the sea, and they began to surround that lightning and to become subject to it. And by reason of my fear I awoke. 54. And I besought the Mighty One and said, Thou alone, O Yahuwah, knowest aforetime the deep things of the world, and the things which befall in their times thou bringest about by thy word, Messiah. And against the works of the inhabitants of the earth thou dost hasten the beginnings of the times, and the end of the seasons thou alone knowest. Well, where's it at? Matthew 24:36. But that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. The end of the seasons thou alone knowest, for whom nothing is too hard, but thou doest everything easily by a nod, to whom the depths as the heights are accessible, and the beginnings of the ages minister to thy word, who revealest to those who fear thee what is prepared for them, that henceforth they may be comforted. Amos 3:7. Surely Yahuwah Elohim will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants the prophets. That henceforth they may be comforted. Thou showest great acts to those who know not. Thou breakest up the enclosure of those who are ignorant, and lightest up what is dark, and revealest what is hidden to the pure, who in faith have submitted themselves to thee and thy law. Who in faith have submitted themselves to thee and thy law. In faith. Thou hast shown to thy servant this vision, reveal to me also its interpretation. For I know that as regards those things wherein I besought thee, I have received a response, and as regards what I besought, thou didst reveal to me, and didst show me with what voice I should praise thee, or from what members I should cause praises and hallelujahs to ascend to thee. For if my members were mouths, and the hairs of my head voices, even so I could not give thee the meed of praise, nor laud thee as is befitting. Nor could I recount thy praise, nor tell the glory of thy beauty. For what am I amongst men? Or why am I reckoned amongst those who are more excellent than I? That I should have heard all those marvelous things from the Most High, and promises numberless from him who created me. Blessed be my mother amongst those that bear, and praised among women be she that bare me. For I will not be silent in praising the Mighty One, and with the voice of praise I will recount his marvelous deeds. For who doeth like unto thy marvelous deeds, O Yahuwah? Or who comprehendeth thy deep thought of life? For with thy counsel dost thou govern all the creatures which thy right hand hath created. And thou hast established every fountain of light beside thee, and the treasures of wisdom beneath thy throne hast thou prepared. And justly do they perish who have not loved thy law. And the torment of judgment shall await those who have not submitted themselves to thy power. For though Adam first sinned and brought untimely death upon all, yet of those who were born from him, each one of them hath prepared for his own soul torment to come. And again each one of them hath chosen for himself glories to come. For assuredly he who believeth shall receive reward. But now as for you, you wicked that now are, turn you to destruction, because you will speedily be visited, in that formerly you rejected the understanding of the Most High. For his works have not taught you, nor hath the skill of his creation, which is at all times persuaded you. Adam is therefore not the cause, save only of his own soul, but each one of us hath been the Adam of his own soul. Ain't that the truth? But do thou, O Yahuwah, expound to me regarding those things which thou hast revealed to me, and inform me regarding that which I besought thee. For at the consummation of the world there shall be vengeance taken upon those who have done wickedness according to their wickedness, and thou wilt glorify the faithful according to their faithfulness. For thou who are amongst thine own thou rulest, and those who sin thou blottest out from amongst thine own. Second Exodus, he's going to take people into the wilderness. Ezekiel 20:35, and I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. Repent. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, saith Yahuwah. Get ready. Glorify. Vengeance upon. I already looked this up earlier, I think. Oh yeah, 24. Isaiah 24. Chapter 24, verse 4. The earth mourneth and fadeth away, the world languisheth and fadeth away, the haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, his laws, changed the ordinance, his ordinances, broken the everlasting covenant, the rainbow covenant. Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. So, happy Sabbath, Stephanie. Thank you for the encouragement, Mick. And so 55, and it came to pass when I had finished speaking the words of this prayer, that I sat there under a tree, that I might rest in the shade of the branches. And I wondered and was astonished, and pondered in my thoughts regarding the multitude of goodness which sinners who are upon the earth have rejected, and regarding the great torment which they have despised, though they knew that they should be tormented because of the sin they had committed. And when I was pondering on these things and the like, lo, the angel Ramiel, who presideth over true visions, was sent to me, and he said unto me, Why doth thy heart trouble thee, Baruch, and why doth thy thought disturb thee? For if owing to the report which thou hast only heard of judgment, thou art so moved, what wilt thou be when thou shalt see it manifestly with thine eyes? And if with the expectation wherewith thou dost expect the day of the mighty one, thou art so overcome, what wilt thou be when thou shalt come to its advent? And if at the word of the announcement of the torment of those who have done foolishly, thou art so wholly distraught, how much more when the event will reveal marvelous things? And if thou hast heard tidings of the good and evil things which are then coming, and art grieved, what wilt thou be when thou shalt behold what the majesty will reveal, which will convict these and cause those to rejoice? 56. Nevertheless, because thou hast besought the Most High to reveal to thee the interpretation of the vision which thou hast seen, I have been sent to tell thee, and the Mighty One hath assuredly made known to thee the methods of the times that have passed, and of those that are destined to pass in his world from the beginning of its creations even unto its consummation, of those things which are deceit, and of those things which are in truth. For as thou didst see a great cloud which ascended from the sea, and went and covered the earth, this is the duration of the world, which the Mighty One made when he took counsel to make the world. And it came to pass, when the word had gone forth from his presence, that the duration of the world had come into being in a small degree, the word, Messiah, and was established according to the multitude of intelligence of him who sent it. And as thou didst previously see on the summit of the cloud black waters which descended previously on the earth, this is the transgression wherewith Adam the first man transgressed. For since when he transgressed, untimely death came into being, and grief was named, and anguish was prepared, and pain was created, and trouble consummated, and disease began to be established, and Sheol to demand that it should be renewed in blood, and the begetting of children was brought about, and the passion of parents produced, and the greatness of humanity was humiliated, and goodness languished. What therefore can be blacker or darker than these things? This is the beginning of the black waters which thou hast seen. And from these black waters again were black derived, and the darkness of darkness produced. For he became a danger to his own soul, even to the angels became he a danger. For moreover, at that time when he was created, they enjoyed liberty, and some of them descended and mingled with women. Yep. That's right. It is Peter and Jude. Where's it at? Jude 1:6, and the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day. And Peter. It's a big book. 2 Peter 2:4. For if Yahuwah spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down into Sheol, and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing the flood upon the world of the ungodly. So, same time frame. And some of them descended and mingled with women. Yep. Well, some will say this is not the angels because they can't wrap their head around it, or it's not revealed to them. God. There we go. Genesis 6:4, there were giants in the earth in those days, giants, and also after that, when the sons of Yahuwah, angels, came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. Jubilees, which Genesis quotes, Jubilees, the first book of Torah, gives you a detailed account, and Enoch also, the first prophet, gives you a detailed account. And then those who did so were tormented in chains, everlasting chains. But the rest of the multitude of the angels, of which there is no number, restrained themselves. And those who dwelt on the earth perished together with them through the waters of the flood, deluge. These are the black first waters. So 57. And after these waters thou didst see bright waters. This is the fount of Abraham. Also his generations in the advent of his son, and of his son's son, and of those like them, because at that time the unwritten law was named amongst them. And I don't know about that. You can look in, where's that? It says unwritten law. That sounds like something that might have been added. Jubilees, also found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Scripture, quoted many, many times throughout the Bible. solid foundation. Jubilees gets rid of a lot of false doctrine. So God's covenant with Abraham. Yep, Abram's knowledge of Yah. And let's see. Okay, here we go. All right, Jubilees, chapter, which chapter am I in? 12? I think it's 12. See, it's a comparison to, parts in Genesis. So, chapter 12, I'm not going to read everything. Okay, so it's verse 25, and Yahuwah Elohim said, open his mouth and his ears, that he may hear and speak with his mouth with the language which hath been revealed, for it has ceased from the mouths of all the children of men from the day of the overthrow of Babel, when he confused the languages. And I opened his mouth and his ears and his lips, and I began to speak with him in Hebrew, in the tongue of creation, Paleo-Hebrew, his language. That's why his name is written in Paleo-Hebrew. And he took the books of his fathers, and these were written in Hebrew, and he transcribed them, and he began from henceforth to study them. And I made known to him that which he could not understand, and he studied them during the 6 rainy months. So, this is Abraham here. And it came to pass in the 7th year of the 6th week that he spoke to his father, and informed him that he would leave Haran to go into the land of Canaan, to see it and return to him. So, Abraham had the books of his fathers, Enoch, Noah, no telling what else, but he knew the laws. It wasn't unwritten. And the works of the commandments were then fulfilled, and belief in the coming judgment was then generated. So the works of the commandments fulfilled. Genesis 26:5, because that Abraham obeyed my voice, kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. And belief in the coming judgment was then generated, and hope of the world that was to be renewed was then built up, and the promise of the life that should come hereafter was implanted. These are the bright waters which thou hast seen, and the black third waters which thou hast seen. These are the mingling of all sins which the nations afterwards wrought after the death of those righteous men, and the wickedness of the land of Egypt, wherein they did wickedly in the service wherewith they made their sons to serve. Nevertheless, these also perished at last. So when they were in Egypt, they forgot all their ways. That's why he had to re-give them the laws. He said, remember the Sabbath, when he gave them the laws. 59, and the bright fourth waters which thou hast seen are the advent of Moses and Aaron and Miriam and Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb and of all those like them. For at that time the lamp of the eternal law, that's what Enoch says too, eternal, shone on all those who sat in darkness, which announced to them that believed the promise of their reward, and to them that denied the torment of fire which is reserved for them. But also the heavens at that time were shaken from their place, and those who were under the throne of the Mighty One were perturbed when he was taking Moses unto himself, for he showed him many admonitions together with the principles of the law and the consummation of times, as also to thee, and likewise the pattern of Zion, New Jerusalem, and its measures, and the pattern of which the sanctuary of the present time was to be made. But then also he showed to him the measures of the fire, also the depths of the abyss, and the weight of the winds, and the number of the drops of rain, and the suppression of anger, and the multitude of long suffering, and the truth of judgment, and the root of wisdom, and the riches of understanding, and the fount of knowledge, and the height of the air, and the greatness of paradise, and the consummation of the ages, and the beginning of the day of judgment, and the number of the offerings in the earth which have not yet come. That's interesting. And the mouth of Gehenna, and the station of vengeance, and the place of faith, and the region of hope, and the likeness of future torment, and the multitude of innumerable angels, and the flaming host, and the splendor of the lightnings, and the voice of the thunders, and the orders of the chiefs of the angels, and the treasuries of the light. archangels. In the changes of the times and the investigations of the law, these are the bright fourth waters which thou hast seen. 60. And the black fifth waters which thou hast seen raining are the works which the Amorites wrought, and the spells of their incantations which they wrought, and the wickedness of their mysteries, and the mingling of their pollution. But even Israel was then polluted by sins in the days of the judges, though they saw many signs which were from him who made them. And the bright six waters which thou didst see, this is the time in which David and Solomon were born. And there was at that time the building of Zion, and the dedication of the sanctuary, and the shedding of much blood of the nations that sinned then. And many offerings were offered then in the dedication of the sanctuary, and peace and tranquility existed at that time, and wisdom was heard in the assembly, and riches of understanding were magnified in the congregations, and the holy festivals were fulfilled in goodness and in much joy. And the judgment of the rulers was then seen to be without guile. And the righteousness of the precepts of the Mighty One was accomplished with truth, and the land which was then beloved by Yahuwah, and because its inhabitants sinned not, it was glorified beyond all lands, and the city of Zion ruled then over all lands and regions. These are the bright waters which thou hast seen. And 62. Yep. And the black seventh waters which thou hast seen, this is the perversion brought about by the counsel of Jeroboam, who took counsel to make 2 calves of gold, and all the iniquities which the kings who were after him iniquitously wrought, and the curse of Jezebel, and the worship of idols which Israel practiced at that time, and the withholding of rain, and the famines which occurred until women ate the fruit of their wombs. Ugh. Not good. It's in there, though. It's in there. Can't remember where it's at, but it's in there. Ezekiel. Yep, 2 Kings. 2 Kings 6:29. So we boiled my son and did eat him, and I said unto her on the next day, give thy son that we may eat him, and she hath hid her son. And the time of their captivity which came upon the 9 tribes and a half, because they were in many sins, and Salmanassar king of Assyria came and led them away captive. But regarding the Gentiles, it were tedious to tell how they always wrought impiety and wickedness, and never wrought righteousness. These are the black seventh waters which thou hast seen. 63. And the bright eighth waters which thou hast seen, this is the rectitude and uprightness of Hezekiah king of Judah, and the grace of Yahuwah which came upon him. See his grace. For when Sennacherib was stirred up in order that he might perish, and his wrath troubled him in order that he might thereby perish, for the multitude also of the nations which were with him, when moreover Hezekiah the king heard those things which the king of Assyria was devising, to come and seize him and destroy his people, the 2.5 tribes which remained, nay more, he wished to overthrow Zion. Benjamin and Judah remained, the southern kingdom, and 2.5 tribes. Levi. He wished to overthrow Zion also. Then Hezekiah trusted in his works, and had hope in his righteousness, and spake with the Mighty One, and said, behold, for lo, Sennacherib is prepared to destroy us, and he will be boastful and uplifted when he hath destroyed Zion. Yeah, it's got to be Levi. So you got half of Levi's in the northern kingdom, and half is in the southern kingdom. They were dispersed. Levites everywhere. And the Mighty One heard him, for Hezekiah was wise, and he had respect unto his prayer, because he was righteous. And thereupon the Mighty One commanded Ramiel his angel, who speaketh with thee, and I went forth and destroyed their multitude, and the number of whose chiefs only was 185,000. So this says Ramiel is the angel that was there to destroy the multitude. 2 Kings. Isaiah 37, 2 Kings 19:35. 2 Kings 19:35. KJV. Came to pass that night that the angel of Yahuwah went out and smote in the camp of the Assyrians 185,000. And when they arose early in the morning, behold, they were all dead corpses. Kings 19:35. Yep. And at that time I burned their bodies within, but their raiment and arms I preserved outwardly, in order that the still more wonderful deeds of the Mighty One might appear, and that thereby his name might be spoken of throughout the whole earth. Moreover, Zion was saved and Jerusalem delivered. Israel also was freed from tribulation, and all those who were in the Holy Land rejoiced, and the name of the Mighty One was glorified, so that it was spoken of. These are the bright waters which thou hast seen. And 64, and the black ninth waters which thou hast seen. This is all the wickedness which was in the days of Manasseh the son of Hezekiah, for he wrought much impiety, and he slew the righteous, and he wrested judgment, and he shed the blood of the innocent, and wedded women he violently polluted, and he overturned the altars, and destroyed their offerings, and drave forth the priests, lest they should minister in the sanctuary. And he made an image with 5 faces. 4 of them looked to the 4 winds, and the 5th on the summit of the image, as an adversary of the zeal of the Mighty One. And then wrath went forth from the presence of the Mighty One, to the intent that Zion should be rooted out, as also befell it in your days. But also against the 2 tribes and a half went forth a decree, that they should also be led away captive, as thou hast now seen. And to such a degree did the impiety of Manasseh increase, that it removed the praise of the Most High from the sanctuary. On this account Manasseh was at that time named the impious, and finally his abode was in the fire. For through his prayer, though his prayer was heard with the Most High, finally when he was cast into the brazen horse, and the brazen horse was melted, it served as a sign unto him at that time. So it says the prayer of Manasseh is legit here. And I was wondering about that, because it says Manasseh was wicked, but in his prayer. So, for the prayer was heard with the Most High. For he did not live perfectly, for he was not worthy, but that thenceforth he might know by whom finally he should be tormented. For he who is able to benefit is also able to torment. 65. Thus, moreover, did Manasseh act impiously, and thought that in his time the Mighty One would not inquire into these things. These are the black ninth waters which thou hast seen. So, be careful. Manasseh's like, yep. He thought, it's all good. 66. And the bright 10th waters which thou hast seen, this is the purity of the generations of Josiah, king of Judah, who was the only one at that time who submitted himself to the Mighty One with all his heart and with all his soul. And he cleansed the land from idols, and hallowed all the vessels which had been polluted, and restored the offerings to the altar, and raised the horn of the holy, and exalted the righteous, and glorified all that were wise and understanding, and brought back the priests to their ministry, and destroyed and removed the magicians and enchanters and necromancers from the land. And not only did he slay the impious that were living, but they also took from the sepulchres the bones of the dead, and burned them with fire. And the festivals and the Sabbaths he established in their sanctity, and their polluted ones he burnt in the fire, and the lying prophets which deceived the people, these also he burnt in the fire. And the people who listened to them when they were living, he cast them into the brook Hedron, and heaped stones upon them. And he was zealous with the zeal of the Mighty One with all his soul, and he alone was firm in the law at that time, so that he left none that was uncircumcised, or that wrought impiety in all the land all the days of his life. Therefore he shall receive an eternal reward, and he shall be glorified with the Mighty One beyond many at a later time. For on his account, and on account of those who are like him, were the honorable glories of which thou wast told before, created and prepared. These are the bright waters which thou hast seen. Say 67. And the black 11th waters which thou hast seen, this is the calamity which is now befalling Zion. Dost thou think that there is no anguish to the angels in the presence of the Mighty One, that Zion was so delivered up, and that, lo, the Gentiles boast in their hearts, and assemble before their idols, and say, She is trodden down, who of oft times trod down, and she hath been reduced to servitude, who reduced others. Dost thou think that in these things the Most High rejoiceth, or that his name is glorified? But how will it serve towards his righteous judgment? Yet after these things shall the dispersed among the Gentiles be taken hold of by tribulation. Israel, dispersed among the Gentiles. And in shame shall they dwell in every place, because so far as Zion is delivered up, and Jerusalem laid waste, and idols prosper in the cities of the Gentiles, and the vapor of the smoke of the incense of righteousness, which is by the law, is extinguished in Zion. And in the region of Zion, in every place, lo, there is the smoke of impiety. But the king of Babylon will arise, who hath now destroyed Zion, and he will boast over the people, and he will speak great things in his heart in the presence of the Most High. But he also shall fall at last. These are the black waters. And 68, the vapor. Vapor. James 4:14, whereas you know not what shall be on the morrow, for what is your life? It is even a vapor that appeareth for a little time, and then vanisheth away. Hmm. 68, and the bright 12th waters which thou hast seen, this is the word. For after these things a time shall come when thy people shall fall into distress, so that they shall all run the risk of perishing together. Nevertheless, they shall be saved, and their enemies shall fall in their presence. And they shall have in due time much joy. And at that time, after a little interval, Zion shall again be builded, and its offerings shall again be restored, and the priests shall return to their ministry. And again the Gentiles shall come to glorify it. Nevertheless, not fully as in the beginning, the time of Ezra, when they returned to rebuild the temple. But it shall come to pass after these things that there shall be the fall of many nations. These are the bright waters which thou hast seen. 69. For the last waters which thou hast seen, which were darker than all that were before them, those which were after the 12th number, which were collected together, belong to the whole world. For the Most High made division from the beginning, but because he alone knoweth what shall befall. For as to the enormities and the impieties which shall be wrought before him, he foresaw 6 kinds of them. And of the good works of the righteous which should be accomplished before him, he foresaw 6 kinds of them, beyond those which he should work at the consummation of the age. On this account there were not black waters with black, nor bright with bright, for it is the consummation. 70. Hear therefore the interpretation of the last black waters which are to come after the black. This is the word. Behold, the days come, and it shall be, when the time of the age has ripened, and the harvest of its evil and good seeds hath come. Matthew 13:39, the enemy that sowed them is the devil, the harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. That's the parable of the seeds. The harvest is the end of the world. Also in Jeremiah chapter 8. There we go. The harvest is past, the summer is ended, and we are not saved. Harvest. the harvest of its evil and good seeds hath come, that the mighty one will bring upon the earth and its inhabitants and upon its rulers perturbation of spirit and stupor of heart, and they will hate one another and provoke one another to fight, and the mean shall rule over the honorable, and those of low degree shall be extolled above the famous, and the many shall be delivered into the hands of the few, and those who are nothing shall rule over the strong, and the poor shall have abundance beyond the rich, and the impious shall exalt themselves above the heroic, and the wise shall be silent, and the foolish shall speak, neither shall the thought of men be them then confirmed, nor the counsel of the mighty, nor shall the hope of those who hope be confirmed. Moreover, it shall be, when those things which were predicted have come to pass, that confusion shall fall upon all men, and some of them shall fall in battle, some of them shall perish in anguish, and some of them shall be destroyed by their own. Then the Most High will reveal those peoples whom he hath prepared before, and they shall come and make war with the leaders that shall be left. And it shall come to pass that whosoever getteth safe out of the war shall die in the earthquake, and whosoever getteth safe out of the earthquake shall be burned by the fire, and whosoever getteth safe out of the fire shall be destroyed by the famine. And it shall come to pass that whosoever of the victors and the vanquished getteth safe out of and escapeth all these things aforesaid shall be delivered into the hands of my servant Messiah. For all the earth will devour its inhabitants. And so let's stop at 70. So it's 71. Yeah, we're going to stop at 70. Save a little bit for the next time. All right. 44 to 70. All right. Hope that was a blessing and helpful. And happy Sabbath again.